God bless you. You know, one of the most dangerous things that we can do as people, one of the most critical or the most, I guess you can say, dream-killing, purpose-killing things that we do is compare ourselves to the next person, the next individual. We compare ourselves to those who are successful in our eyes, or those who we admire. And the reason why that is dangerous is because when we compare ourselves to someone else or their successes, or when we compare ourselves to the things that they do, we measure our value and our worth based on them. Now, don't get twisted. There's great worth, or there's great benefit, should I say, when we see someone who's doing something that we desire to do, and they inspire us, or they encourage us to pursue dreams and pursue the things that God has placed on our heart. But when we fall victim to comparing ourselves to those individuals or their resumes, if you will, we start to diminish or devalue the things that we are called to do. We also start to put a spin, if you will, on the things that we should really celebrate. You know, we can't fall victim to comparison. God has created all of us differently. God has given all of us specific gifts and talents and abilities, and we have to understand that He has a purpose for us. Paul talks about this a little bit in 2 Timothy when he tells Timothy this. He says, listen, in a large house, there are articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay. Some are for special purposes, and some for common use. Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the master, and prepared to do any good work. Now, what I believe we can take from this text, now, Paul was talking about a little something different during that time, but what I think we can pull from this is that when we try to compare ourselves to individuals, we try to compare ourselves to others that we see successful, and we start to fall victim to mimicking what they do, we are no better than the next person. We are trying to be like them. But the reality is God has uniquely created us. And in our uniqueness, we don't even have to try to be unique. He's created us unique. But in our uniqueness, God has a special purpose and a special uses for you. We don't have to be ashamed of the things that we can't do. We just need to celebrate the things that we can. In those areas that we find ourselves weak in is a good opportunity for us to connect with other people. You know, no good thing or no great thing is done by one person alone. Therefore, even in all of your giftedness and all your greatness that God has invested in you, to do great things in this world, you're going to need to connect to other people. You know, I can honestly say I have fallen victim to not knowing my lane, if you will, or not understanding that some things that I'm just not good at. Some things I'm great at, some things I'm terrible at. You know, I love to sing. I have a singer's heart, as I like to tell people. But the reality is, not a very good singer. And when I did, and my praise, I'm not a very good singer. And I can say that confidently because I know that God has gifted me in other areas. So you just heard evidence, and you heard proof that I really don't have a singing voice. I have a singer's heart, meaning I love to sing, but some things are best kept in private. And so what I'm trying to express to you is, listen, you want to make sure you understand what your giftedness is. Know what your value is based on what God has invested in you. See, we don't take things that are, say for instance, televisions. You know, a 4K, 32-inch, or 57-inch is a treasured piece of equipment for most people. But if you put it in the wrong environment, it's no longer useful. If you put it in the wrong place, its value is no longer there. For instance, you shouldn't use a television to shovel snow. The value of that television goes down dramatically. Its usage, and you won't be able to maximize what all the television brings to the table if you try to take that joker outside and shovel snow with it. You might be somewhat successful, but you won't maximize all of the features and all of the things that the TV brings to you, and then you'll damage the television because it's not supposed to be used to shovel snow. And so much like our giftedness, much like the things God has invested in us, it's important that we discover what He has given us, that we know the difference, not compare ourselves and not compare our successes, if you will, to those who are around us. Be inspired and encouraged by how they move and how their giftedness is. But don't compare yourself to those individuals, because their calling, their success, their story, their journey can be much different than yours. But just trust and believe that God has created you special. He says that you are his masterpiece. So I want to encourage you today to remember that God has invested great things in you. Don't compare yourself to other individuals. Know your lane, or you're going to sound like this. And we know that's not pleasing to the ear. God bless you. This is Antione Anderson. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you very soon.